Welcome, YouTube friends and family, to today's festive, a little bit of decorating edition of the Wellness Homesteader. Please excuse my crazy hair. So today we are going to be talking about something very near and dear to my heart, which is mid-century ceramics. So I want to share a few pieces of information, but before we get into that, I wanted to share with you, y'all, the floor is dirty. There's boxes everywhere. Frankie's right here and over here, right there. He's like, are those boxes for me, Mama? So one piece that is my pride and joy is this tree. It is absolutely beautiful. It's hard to tell on the video, but it's like a pearlized finish. The design of the tree is called a volcano tree. Some people call it by a different name, but I'm going to share a little bit of the history. This I actually purchased, and I purchased it from someone who had the original mold and was making, let's just say, a modern version. So it has the modern plug, etc. But I just absolutely love these. I always called them lava trees, but lava or volcano is correct. And then of course we have our vintage style stereo scarf or table runner that I've put up. A wreath that kind of goes with my colors. I've hung the stockings, and you know, that way at least it looks like I'm being somewhat festive. Along the line of ceramics, I want to show you a couple pieces and then we're going to get more into the history. So this little feller I've seen in many videos. If y'all watch anybody that collects, this is a very common mold. Don't drop you. Unfortunately, this guy has no information whatsoever, but he is well done. So he's got the little eyelashes, a nice shiny glaze, and then his fur, I guess you would call it, is textured. So I found him at an antique store for like nothing. It wasn't Christmas time, so that always happens. You know, things do go down when it's out of season, but I really loved him. I've had him for a couple years, we'll say. And then the other piece, which is kind of a variation on the white filler, is this one. And this is actually a planter, so you can put you know, artificial flowers, greenery, whatsoever in it, you know, to make him look very festive. I just have these sitting on the, well, one's in the chair, one's on the floor. And this one, the person was smart, and it says October 19th, 1971. So now we know that this is 53 years old, and it was done by Regina Rhodes. So I always like it. Y'all, if you ever make a ceramic, make sure you date it and put your name on it. You never know where it's going to end up. So he's a nice feller, no chips, no anything. He does have some of the textured fur, but he's nice and shiny, no chips or cracks. So he just sits here to greet my visitors when they come in. So let's go on into the kitchen so I can sit down, because we need to put all of the bulbs in another vintage Christmas tree that I have. And I want to share a little bit of the history, why I particularly like them. So I hope you'll come along. It'll be some fun. All right, y'all. Hope you don't mind me sitting. I didn't say setting, I said sitting. Gotta kind of preserve my back because I've been hard at work today. So I wanted to share a little bit of the history about ceramic trees, like I just showed you, and they have a long history. I did not realize they actually started in the 1940s. Is I in your way? I'm sorry, guys. Yes, my cat gets on the counter. No, I can't break him of it. Okay, I've tried tape. I've tried aluminum foil. I've tried scolding him. Frankie's just gonna be Frankie. All right, so the first trees were handcrafted by artists in the 40s, and some even had tiny electrical bulbs that lit up. So in more modern versions, you're going to have different colored bulbs, and the light comes from within the tree, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. You can kind of see just the corner of my pride and joy. So in the 1950s, the Atlantic Mold Company copyrighted one of the first ceramic tree designs. It was called A64. It was not the complicated volcano tree, we'll say that. Other companies like Dogwood Ceramic Supply, Arnell's, and Holland Mold also produced some of their own designs. Now, I do get asked, how do you date a tree? It can be really difficult, y'all, because generally the copyright date is the copyright for the mold, not for when the tree was produced. If it is a handmade or a more valuable tree, in addition to the copyright date, it will have a number. Do I have any of those? No, and I'm totally fine with that. I like what I like, and I'm fine with what I actually like. So in the 70s, ceramic trees became very popular. So that was kind of the advent of home crafting, handmade gifts, loving hands at home. But I too, yes, I too, in the very early 80s, took ceramics, and I don't mean the you paint it shops that you'll see sometimes in strip malls or in malls where, you know, it's already fired, you just go in and paint it and you're done. This was actually raw clay that you had to clean, smooth, paint, and have fired sometimes as many as 2 times, depending on what type of painting and glaze you were using. Let me deal with the cat, y'all. I'll be right back because there's more history to talk about. All right, y'all, sorry about that. So as I was saying, the ceramic trees became really popular as kind of a DIY in the 1970s. If you're astute and you watch Facebook Marketplace, if you go to summer garage sales, you can sometimes find some handmade vintage-ish, which I guess 1970, man, I'm getting old. They would be at least 50 years old, right? Some vintage trees at a fraction of the cost of what you will find them if you go to an antique store or a vintage shop. Thrift stores, also a good place to look. I belong to several groups on Facebook that collect vintage Christmas items, and several people have snagged them at Goodwill. I've never seen them, but I'm not a frequent Goodwill shopper. So just some ideas for you. I actually, like I said, purchased this, I believe on eBay, but it could have been Etsy, from someone who made that for me because they had the original Atlantic mold. And I'm gonna say it's probably 50s to 60s, but we're gonna take a look at my Pride and Joy Deluxe tree here in just a moment. So ceramic trees kind of went out of style in the 80s. I personally never made one because that was so 1970s, right? But they've recently made a comeback. And I think part of the reason for that is because us baby boomers or Gen X people, we are all about the nostalgia. We remember our parents or our grandparents having them, and it just evokes a memory of times in the past that were pleasant, that you'll remember forever. I think that's a big reason why I enjoy them, because they're very vintage. My parents never had one, and my grandparents never had one. But from the moment I've seen my first one, I was like, I might need that. So, value. Y'all, the true vintage trees, or an original vintage, I'll say Atlantic mold especially, can run well into the hundreds of dollars. Ask me how I know. The most valuable trees are from the late 40s, and the first commercially designed trees in 1958. Those are the most valuable. If you look at, in today's market, something like my white tree with the blue bulbs, it's going to run you around $500. I know that's a lot of money, right? The one advantage to the one I purchased, which I did not pay that for it, y'all, I've had it for quite a while, is it has modern wiring, so you don't have to worry about the of 1950s, 1960s wiring. Is it safe? Do I have to worry about it, catching on fire and burning the house down, and the tree will remain intact because it's ceramic fired? Today you can find a lot of vintage inspired trees, and that's what we're going to start with. You can also easily, let's say you see a beautiful vintage tree, maybe at an op shop, I think that's what you call it in the UK, or a thrift store, or it's missing a lot of bulbs. Y'all, they're a dime a dozen. You can buy them anywhere. eBay has a lot of them, as even you can find them on Amazon if they go off strike. So let me show you an example of a modern ceramic tree. Now let me just say, this is not my favorite tree. It is not well made. It is a Linux tree, and this was actually a gift with flowers from a florist. Okay, I'm sure it was pricey. What is supposed to happen, and has never worked right, is this is supposed to rotate. Well, it's never quite worked that way. So it looks okay. It's Santa and his reindeer without it turning. Let me get around here. I did put some batteries in it. This is a battery operated one. So Santa's driving like he's drunk. He won't turn all the way around. There's a large chip on the back of the star, so it's really better displayed this way. So to me, this is quite disappointing. You can hear the motor turning, but the actual mechanism that this little guy is supposed to slide down in has never worked right. So it's kind of a disappointment, right? But it's pretty. It's an off-white color. It has all the different colors, and it looks cute just setting, right? So that is one example of a more modern version. But let me share with you, y'all. And I actually had this last year or year before last. I might have had it, I think I've had it 2 years, but at any rate, it doesn't really matter. And I purchased this from a YouTuber who, the minute I saw it, I'm like on the hunt for it. I've never been able to find one even remotely close. It is the same mold as the Atlantic mold that I've already shown you. And y'all, what's all over me is styrofoam, like, pieces of styrofoam from where it's been packed away. Normally, I store my valuable vintage trees up on a high shelf in my pantry. Probably not the most logical, but that's what works for me. And I normally don't take the bulbs out. Yeah, I think I did get this last year. The reason, so I purchased, so here's what I purchased. Yeah, $13.77, like a whole pack with some stars, etc., etc. I purchased some bulbs because the people I bought it from, and it's Peggy and Norm over at Crazy for Retro, great channel, lots of fun to watch. They couldn't find the bulbs, and their storage system was a little different than mine. So months later, they did find their baggie of bulbs. So what we are going to do while we chit-chat a little bit, I'm going to talk about this specific tree. I'm going to show you a few things, and then I'm going to light her up, and we've got to find a place for it that's very secure, that Hanky-Panky Frankie won't knock over. Frankie's not really interested in the ceramic trees because there's nothing really to chew. An artificial tree, an aluminum tree, is going to be toast. I have tried everything I know, and you might think, you have the worst cat ever. I really don't. He's just mischievous. That's how he got his name, and I love him to death, and I want to provide a very safe environment for him so that I don't have a huge loss of something. One challenge can be of these vintage trees that are electrified, we'll say. It's not like the Linux battery operated that could go anywhere. This is going to have to go somewhere secure that I can plug it in, and I have a special place for it. So let me get off my duff here, and I'm going to show you a little bit about this tree. Okay, you ready for the big reveal? Y'all, is this the most gorgeous tree you've ever seen? So I have to pull this off. Look at this. So it's got the pearlized off-white, but it has all of the gold, and the gold at the base, and one random bulb. What is really unique about this, here is the base, which is also trimmed in the gold, has the light bulb in it. It is the original fixture. It is, let me see if I can turn this the right way up. It is copyrighted, I don't even know if you can see it, it's right here, by Atlantic Molds. And inside it says Eddie. So I suspect that this was actually done privately. I don't think it's a commercial mold. You might notice too, there's a little bit of purple down here showing through. It may not be coming through as purple, and that's just part of the firing process. This was probably a multi-time firing. So what is this, you ask? Well, that's one of the things that really makes me think this is quite old. I don't think it's 40s. I'm gonna say maybe late 50s, because this is one of their copyrighted designs. So let's put our lid back on him. Oh, wait, before we do that, kind of lost my train of thought. So the little box is actually a music box. So when you turn it, and it worked last year, not sure what that song is, hope it's not copyrighted, but at any rate, never seen one like it since then. So I had told Peggy and Norm, oh, I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas, now I know. It plays several different songs. I said, if you ever want to divest yourself, sorry, Two Little Cranks is gonna play for half an hour. Hold on a minute, guys. If I would have wanted it to play, it would have played like 2 seconds and cut out. So this does have the toggle switch, and it can be easier to actually light this up if you have, and y'all, sorry about my hand, if you have the light on, but it's just gonna show big holes of light, right? But we're gonna get out the bulbs and we're gonna start assembling. So included in the bulbs are some little tiny clear elastics. I'm sure that that was done to make it more secure. So the star up here is clear. And then there are different size bulbs in this particular tree. So if you ever purchase a vintage tree, let me share with you, sometimes the holes were not cleaned as well as they should be. And no matter how you try to angle the bulb, it just won't go in the hole. So the best thing to do in that case is just take a little file or a really coarse emery board, and you can totally file it out and make it the size you need. Y'all can't see what I'm doing. I mean, not that you don't know how to put bulbs in trees, but I want you to see the transformation, so. All right. So for those of you who were on this morning's live, thank you. So much fun. And what I'm gonna do first here, I just dropped out a hunk. I am gonna go ahead and vary, you know, I mean, Lord forbid you have two of the same color together. When my mom did a Christmas tree, I will say this, God rest your soul, Mom. It was no fun being part of the decor, no fun. Because my mom was uber picky and she wanted everything like symmetrical and measured, and you know, as a kid, she probably could have waited till I went to bed and then rearranged. So, you know, it wasn't always the most fun thing. I don't have great memories about decorating the tree, and maybe that's why I like the ceramic ones. I do it the way I want. Now, the other thing to tell you is some of the holes, like here's one that is really small, so it's not going to take a bulb that actually has, oh, I don't want to crack this, don't crack, that has a rubber band around it. Okay, even that's not, uh-oh. It's kind of gummy on the end. Okay, we'll come back to that. But I do have a lot of good Christmas memories. I'm not on here to complain about my mom, but I always tried with my son to, let him have it his way. And yeah, it might not be perfect. And you know what, guys? It's okay. Some of our trees, I'm sure, looked pretty lopsided and funky, and that's okay. It doesn't do anything to change the memories or dampen the holiday spirit. And I think it's really important to let kids create joy and happiness and not worry about, well, you've got two blue ornaments too close together, right? So this is always a fun activity. And I can see on this, because this is the first year I used their bulbs, someone, and these are probably original bulbs, someone has put some goo, well, can you see the goo? So maybe some rubber cement or something not terrifically permanent. Oh, I've got two blue close together, oh Lord, and I'll be all right. Oh goodness. So how are you all doing on your Christmas decor? I am not doing well, thank you. I just have not been super motivated, and I know what will happen is if I'm not in the mood, it will not suit me, and it will take me 30 times as long to do it. So, when the mood strikes, we start putting the lights in the tree. Okay, y'all getting the vision now here? So pretty. Having a lot of leftover rubber bands, but I'm sure they intended to leave me extras. The other tree that I have does not have different size bulbs. That I can say, it's all the same bulb. So I think this is even more unique because of that. Whether that was by design or whether that was simply by the way the person who prepped the tree did it, I can't answer that. Not rightly sure. Okay, that one won't fit there. So sometimes you just have to do some trial and error. I'm back to that really difficult one. Oops. It's cold in this house, y'all. Okay, found one. So just continuing to try to find, what looks best, what fits best. There's a lot of different options as well for toppers. I have like the gold star, but I like the clear personally. I just think it sets off the tree more and lets it shine on its own. And as I mentioned before, I just have never seen anything so gorgeous. And from the very first time I saw it, I'm like, oh wow, would I love to have one of those, right? So let me finish this up, and then I'll bring you back for the big reveal. Stay tuned. All right, y'all. Is this the most beautiful tree you have ever laid eyes on? It is to me, and I know it's to each their own. My son will probably say, this is really ugly, Mom. And I've already warned him. I'm gonna have to put like sticky notes on all the valuables in the house. Do not sell at a garage sale. But who knows? The value of nostalgic vintage or even antique items goes way up and down. If you've ever watched, I love watching the Antiques Roadshow where they show what it was worth then and what it's worth now. And then you've got to guess, is it the same, more or less? And a lot of things can drop dramatically in value. Some things will drop, go way up. So really the value, I believe, is more in the eye of the beholder, like what they like, what they want. I just thought this was stunning, unique, and I've never seen one before I got it or after I purchased it. So I'm gonna go find a secure cat-free zone for this. And then this is what it looks like without the light on. And clean up a little bit of this Christmas mess that I've made. But there will be more Christmas decor to come. As I've shared, I'm not blowing it out of the park this year. You just kind of have to pick your battles. With my shoulder, with, a few different things, I'm just yeah, I'm just going to enjoy my favorite things, which I think will be a lot of fun. We will have more of these vintage history type videos of some of my decor. I still need to do my step back cupboard. Lord, that'll take me like a whole day, but I'll be able to put a video up then as well. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Do me a big favor, if you will, go ahead and smash that like button. Drop me a comment below. Do you own any vintage ceramic Christmas trees? Are you a lover of them? Do you collect them? Have you ever seen this tree? Could I ask more questions? All right, guys. I plan to see you all Saturday. But until then, be healthy, be well, be blessed, and take care.